Yep.
All right. Noah's been waiting the longest, so we'll bring him on in. Here's Noah from Florida. Hi, Noah. How are you? Hello.
I'm doing great. How are you?
Great. So it looks like you're finding meaning in your life now after deconverting. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah. So I was raised with a very religious mother, very religious, and sorry, I'm terrible with like live on air. I sound a lot better in the queue or whatever you call it. So one of the things that I noticed was that with me, so I believe, from a very early age, it's instilled in me, and I did find quite a bit of meaning. And as I got older, I found that my belief in God Himself started to diminish, and I tried to justify my belief more with, as they call it, belief in belief, saying that there's more benefit even if you don't believe in the magic. Having religion is a net gain, and as time went on, I saw more and more of, I don't know if I can say this, but the bullshit. And my belief, it got to a point where I didn't even want to really go to church anymore, because at the end of the day, it was just kind of sitting through people talking. It was like people talking about, going on about Pokemon, and when you only got maybe the first episode of Pokemon, going on about, talking about, philosophizing about, and it just became too much for me. And but one of the things that I found is that there's so much framework within religion, such as social framework, set up, courtship, scripts, morality. I'm looking for more things to say, but I'm not really the best with talking and thinking, and especially not live on air. But what I found was that when you take away the faith and you take away the participation in organized religion, a lot of that also goes away. And it's kind of like, it's almost like you've got this clear path set out, and in so many ways, and now you're kind of almost, I guess you could say, walking in the dark, where you're making your own way. I guess it's a better way. You're making your own path. And I think your name was Student Dr. Ben, and that's pretty cool. I want to go to medical school as well. And actually, it's funny, that was one of the things that first got me to thinking about things. Was there's somebody I really look up to, a doctor, and he's Jewish, and the man saved my life. And basically, one of the first things that got the ball rolling was saying to myself, how can somebody who is such a great, amazing person be going to hell, not based off of their, not based off anything he's done in his life, but because, he doesn't pray to Jesus. And that's a diversion. So basically what I was just wondering is not just finding meaning, but almost like navigating through life, navigating through, the human experience, not to sound too much like a hippie there, but navigating through everything without, I guess you could say, the book that tells you why things are, how things work, what to do. So what are your thoughts?
Well, my first thought is I'm not sure the book does that. I think the book believes it does that. I think a lot of people who believe in that book think it does that, but I'm not sure the book does that. I've always thought that even with the book, even when I did have faith, I always felt like I was alone walking in the world anyway. Nobody has ever walked the same path you've walked. Nobody has ever breathed the same air you breathe. You are a unique person, and your life is unique. And no matter what anybody has written into any book in the past, it's not going to be 100% the instructions for you to live your life. And I think you need to understand that your life is your life. If you're going to find meaning in it, you need to find that meaning. It's not going to be thrust upon you. Usually things will be thrust upon you. This was all kind of thrust upon me. I never expected to be in this seat, right? But you have to go out and make your own path. that the path that this book has laid out for you is at the very most just a few guidelines. It's not a real path in my eyes anyway. Ben, you have any thoughts on it?
Yeah, and this is a really good question, and this is something definitely I want to talk with you about if you have dreams of being a doctor and if this is the path you're going to go down, because this is a question you're going to have to deal with entering medicine, and this is something that as I'm entering residency, I'm having to deal with as well, because I've faced kind of what you're talking about with religion. But medicine, it seems from the outside, it seems like an algorithm. It seems like you have these instructions to go off of. And, well, if A happens, then I do B and I do C. That's not at all how medicine is. And the farther you get along in it, you learn that the instructions are, it's a blank page. And what med school does is it teaches you the foundation of the sciences. It teaches you the foundation of medicine, and it teaches you how to think through the problem, knowing that there isn't a perfect instruction manual for you to go off of. And it's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying, the knowledge that you're going to get out there into a hospital setting, you're going to possibly be the only one there, and someone is going to be hurt or very sick, and nobody knows what to do about it. And maybe you don't know what to do about it, but you have to figure something out. And if you don't, they're going to get more hurt or they might die. And it's really scary. And I don't know how to make it less scary, because that responsibility it's incredible. It's also it's an honor to be tasked with that kind of responsibility, because like, wow, someone trusts in me enough to do that. But sometimes I don't think I'm ready. I don't think any doctor really feels ready to handle that all the time. So I understand the fear. I understand where you're coming from with that. And I think that's the same thing when you're leaving religion. You thought that the world was this algorithm that you could follow these instructions, and you can't. The instructions are a blank page. So how do I approach the world? And I think you need to give yourself some grace and give yourself a little bit of a break, because we're all learning, and you're constantly going to be learning. All of us are, and you're going to mess up. That's just the name of the game. You're going to do something that, because you don't know how to handle a situation that you thought you had instructions for, and you actually don't. So you're going to mess up. You're going to hurt people. You're going to say the wrong things for minority communities. You're going to do that. But just know that the comfort, I guess, for me in that comes from the fact that we are learning. And there's no expectation ever for me to be perfect. And like the Bible that I once believed, I had so much shame and guilt because I was expected to be perfect and I couldn't be. And I think I carried that into my atheist life a little bit, but then I realized, like, that's impossible. Why am I so worried about meeting this unattainable goal when I can humble myself a little bit and say, yeah, I'm going to mess up on this. I don't have the perfect road going forward. I'm going to do the best that I can. I'm going to take every situation as it comes, and I'm going to say, hey, I think this is the right decision in the moment. And it might be, it might not be. And when it's not, you have to be patient with yourself and say, I did the best I could with the information I had at that time. And then you figure out how to make it right and you move forward. So it is scary. It is absolutely scary. And I don't want to diminish that it is. But I think the freedom that comes with truth, the freedom that comes with the responsibility of having agency in your decisions, I think it's worth it more so than being able to fall on this algorithm. So I don't know if that helped at all.
No, it does. And
I hope it did.
I don't know names, so the first man who was on the phone,
Kelly,
what he said about, I think he said the book, the Bible, it doesn't really tell you much about how to live your life, instructions so much. It was funny when he said that, because it made me realize, just like what I was saying about the institution of religion, it's a priest who tells you, the pastor, it's them who tell you these things. It's them you don't go to the book, you don't go to God, because he's not going to talk back for 99% of people. It's them you go to, who then prescribe you the instruction, prescribe you the advice, and tell you what to do. And it's not so much based off of the book, but based off their own interpretation of the book itself. And I think that's a very good way of looking at things, because, you know, it's just, you know, and it's going to be this way with any sort of institution, any sort of philosophy. You know, it does give you a lot of things that, I guess, you know, when you stop believing in it, does definitely go away. But yeah, I do really appreciate what you said about it. And you're going to have to find your own way anyway. And there's so many things in life, especially in the medical field, where, you know, you're just going to have to. You're going to be thrown into the deep end, and, you know, nothing's going to help you except for yourself.
That's right. And that's the whole key to life, really. I mean, the only person you can 100% rely on is yourself. And every decision you make is going to affect your life. So just be good and think about everything you do beforehand, because it's your path, and nobody else is going to walk it for you or lead you along it on the way, because nobody has that same path that you do. I really want to thank you for calling in, Noah, and waiting all that time to talk to us. You were great.
No,
I want you to call back and check in with us and let us know how everything's going with you. I do have a lot more calls to take, though, and I hate to rush you off, but I have to.
Real quick, you can email, if we can put up the email on the screen here. If you want to send me an email to my ACA email about kind of your journey through this and through your journey to medical school and the career of medicine, please let me know, and I'm happy to talk to you more in private about that.
Yeah, go ahead. Let me pull up my notes real quick.
Yeah, and you can go back and rewatch the show too, and this will be up there.